Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Masuki Arts. We are going to be doing another paint with me, paint a page in my sketchbook kind of video. But I have these paintbrushes that I got from Artify. They sent me these for free to try out and review, and we're going to be using them in today's video. Right out of the box, my first impression is that this is a beautiful little case. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's untie this and get into it. Ooh, beautiful. Ooh, fancy. Okay, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I love paintbrushes, okay? Art supplies are like my third favorite thing. New art supplies are my third favorite thing, and you should be shocked that it's third, because first is food, second is guinea pigs, and third is new art supplies. They're beautiful. Oh my gosh, the brushes are so soft. Oh my gosh, they feel really nice and secure too. Like, usually when I buy new paintbrushes, I feel like there's like a couple hairs that'll come off. If they're not good quality, I should say. Like, not if I go out and I buy like a nice quality brush. That's what I'm trying to say. But like, so like these feel really good. They're not having hairs come off. The ferrules are like really tight. There's no like loose ones, you know. Like, it's a really beautiful set, and all the little detail brushes, I think this one might be the smallest or the thinnest. So nice. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to paint now. Oh my gosh. Not that I wasn't excited to paint before, but you know what I mean. They're just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And the case really elevates it. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to play around with the big brushes too. I love a big brush. This set comes with a palette knife too, which is really nice. I don't usually use palette knives, but it is a nice addition because this set is advertised as being like for multiple different types of paint, including like acrylic and oil, and that's really where the palette knives shine. So it's really great, like versatile little set off of my first impression. And I like that the canvas roll has a plastic layer to it. I think that's great. It adds like an extra layer of protection to everything. I think it's time we take these for a spin, if you will, and paint something. I've had this line art sitting around in my sketchbook for a couple weeks now, and I thought she'd be the perfect test subject for these paintbrushes. Right off the bat, I love this big soft one. Like, normally when I find like bigger brushes, for some reason, like they are like a little too stiff for my paintings, but this one is really nice. I love the long bristles, so it can hold a lot of water. That's another thing I noticed about these brushes, is they can hold like a lot of paint, which is really lovely. I was envisioning a lot of pink for this painting, so of course we started off with a pink base as well. I used to kind of like build up shadows a little bit before diving right in with like base colors and everything, but lately I've kind of been bouncing around with my method a little bit. So like I put down her skin tone like immediately, and then for her dress I went in with pink shadows, which is both part of the base color and also like I'm building up the shadows. I don't know. My painting methods are kind of all over the place because I consider myself to be someone that's still learning. Like, I did get my 2-year arts degree, but I consider myself still a student because I'm studying on my own still while working full-time, and of course balancing that with my business and everything. So you guys will definitely continue to see me experimenting with how I paint things. But yeah, I brought those pink shadows into her face. I built up some blush, a little bit of lip color and everything. I've been loving doing this strong shadow under the eyebrows. It almost looks like a makeup that like goes up to the eyebrows or something. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but I love it. And of course, I included lots of blush everywhere because that's what I always do. Blush on the ears, blush on the shoulders, blush on the knuckles and fingers and everything. Like that's pretty typical. And then I brought in like a more purpley pink tone to add some more shadows and everything, like especially to the hair. Because at this point I wasn't sure what color hair I was going to go with. I was like, maybe pink, maybe brown, maybe blonde. Who really knows? It's just what I feel like doing. I did in the end decide to go with pink, which you may think is what you're seeing here, but I really don't like finalize the color until later in the process. I think at least that's the way I remember it. I don't know. I definitely, it looks like I'm committing to the pink here. But yeah, I was thinking like the only way to really get the amount of pink in this piece that I want without having like literally everything pink, like the wings, the background, everything, and just having it be like a whole mess of like trying to get my values right and everything, is to give her pink hair and a pink dress, and then everything else can be like other colors to you know, bring in a little bit of contrast and variety. But yeah, at this point in the process, I was still like second guessing myself, because for some reason, like I have a hard time committing to painting like unnatural like hair colors on my fairies. I mean, I suppose since they're fairies, it could very well be natural for them, but you know, I'm like, I'm non-committal, if that makes sense. Like it's so easy to use like a darker hair color, like a dark red, or like brown or black or something like that, to like really frame the face of my character. Whereas when you're like, oh, she's gonna have like lilac hair or pink hair or whatever, and all the skin tones I paint are like kind of, you know, either purpley or like pinkish, because that's just sort of the way that I deal with skin tones. Then you take the risk of like having it look all kind of muddy, and I worry about that when I paint fantastical skin tones, or not skin tones, hair colors as a result. But anyways, I did like how the pink was looking on her, so I started on her dress, which is sort of like a two-tier look. For some reason, it reminds me of like the early 2000s and how people were layering like dresses over jeans. I don't know why, because she's clearly not wearing jeans. But yeah, I decided the first tier should have like a little bit of a green kind of like gradient on it, not like a smooth gradient, but like a mossy green kind of like there's literally like some kind of like moss on her dress, if that makes sense. And of course it gets pink at the top of the dress, and there's more pink on like the second tier and everything. I was really enjoying the variety of like brush sizes and shapes that this set offers. Usually I kind of limit myself to like round brushes and like maybe one or two flat brushes, but this set has like so much to offer in terms of like shape and everything, so I can really like play around with the angles of how I hold things. You see I used like the thin side of this brush at the tip of her wing, and was able to change the angle of the brush to like fill in larger areas of the wing with it. So it's just lovely to like be able to, I don't know, like use my brush in a more maneuverable way, and that's what different like, I don't know, sizes and shapes of brushes offer, like being able to get a lot of control with how you use your lines, if that makes sense. And obviously these brushes are very soft and very high quality. I feel like I could do a lot of layering with these brushes, and I've always felt like stiffer brushes eat up the paper, like especially when you're working with watercolors and you're already putting a lot of stress on your little paper or your sketchbook or whatever. But these brushes are so like soft, and like in like a good way. Like sometimes when a brush is soft, it doesn't have a lot of hair in it, but these brushes are very thick, as you saw earlier in the video. And I mentioned they hold a lot of water as well, so they're really quite great for my purposes. But they are still like soft, which is great. I'm sure that softness also has more to do with like the type of bristle that's in the brush. Like, I think it's, from what it feels like maybe synthetic squirrel hair. It's sort of comparable to that, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't say on the box that it's synthetic squirrel hair at all, so I'm not sure, but that's the closest thing that it feels like, to me at least. So I think it's a really nice texture, especially for watercolor, because it is so, like, I don't know, like gentle on the paper. You can see on screen here me like messing with the pigment and going over things again and again and again while the paint is still wet, which, if you don't know, puts a lot of stress on the paper itself. Like, a lot of times you'll start to get like the overwork, which is when the paper physically changes texture because you've been painting on it too much. A lot of people define overwork as being like you've overpainted something, like painted it too much and it looks like there's too much detail, but technically that's overpainting or overdrawing something. Overwork is literally when you have like messed with your supply, like your art material, so much that it doesn't look right anymore. Like, it's not going to take the paint, it's gonna like wear out faster because like you've abused it basically. You put like 20 layers of wet paint on top of the paper like all at once, and that's overwork. But yeah, thankfully these brushes seem to help with that a little bit, just because they are so soft and so gentle. You can see earlier in the process of painting this background piece for this painting that I really like played around with the way that I wanted the pigments to lay down and everything. I was like messing around with it quite a bit to get it to look the way that I wanted it to look. And finally, when it was all done and everything, I could like glue down my fairy, and everything looked really good. I had a lot of fun like painting the rock and the moss on the rock and the trees in the background, all the leaves and greenery and stuff. It all looks really great, and I felt like these brushes were quite easy to work with. And then once I had everything glued down, of course, I could go back in with my detail brushes and like add some shadows and really make sure things are popping as much as I can get them to. Because with the way that I work, sometimes like it's hard to envision the final piece until it is done. So having that time to like go back in and add my little details is pretty important. So I want to thank Artify again for sending me these brushes. I think they are absolutely lovely. I will continue to be using these brushes alongside my other brushes in my work, because they are just so great. They're quite wonderful. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to my Ko-fi supporters. Thank you so much to Ashley, Savvy, Tiffany, and Lilycorn. Your guys' support means the world to me, and it allows me to keep making videos just like this one. If you would like a shout out in my next video, check the link in the description box down below, where you can join my Ko-fi page for all these benefits and so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you again to Artify. I will see you guys next week. Bye!